بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الله الغني وأنتم الفقراء، والله الغني وأنتم الفقراء، والله الغني وأنتم الفقراء، وإن تتولوا يستبدل قوما غيركم ثم لا يكونوا أمثالكم.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So, I have a bit of a confession to make. Some bad news, but then some good news. You can't actually reinvent your parents. I hate to break that to you, but you can reinvent yourself as a parent. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, to reinvent parenthood in general. And so the concept, obviously the relationship between parents and children is very wide. The relationship between parents and children is enormous. And so in the interest of actually driving home a point, we narrowed it down to teaching your children honesty and trustworthiness. How many of us have ever noticed that our children have lied to us, by a show of hands? How many of us have ever noticed that our children have been untruthful in some way, or that they had an amana that you gave them and that they were untrustworthy with it, by a show of hands? So, I'm a child psychiatrist, and I deal with dishonesty, and I deal with issues of children and parents constantly all day long. So, what is the definition of integrity? I'll just pull it out of the Webster's dictionary. The definition of integrity. There's a sister in the back with a pink hijab. Naam, tafaddali. You'll have to scream. Truthfulness. Excellent. Jazakillah khair. Tafaddal.
Doing the right thing when nobody's watching.
Allahu Akbar. That's exactly what I have written here. Doing the right thing. Trustworthiness, truthfulness, doing the right thing when nobody is watching. Jazakumullah khair. Alright, so there's also honesty, fairness, equity, right? And part of integrity is self-sacrifice, right? Sacrificing of yourself for your brother or your sister. Now there are two aspects to a person's life. There's one aspect which is when we are highly stressed. Okay, so for the example of that is that you can show integrity like soldiers show integrity on the battlefield, right? And then there's periods of integrity in low stress. Okay, so we're not actually going to talk about integrity on the battlefield, right? That's a different talk. We're talking about parenting and children typically in low stress situations where we're at home. Right? And you want to teach your children self-sacrifice. You want to teach your children honesty and integrity. Alright. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, لِكُلِّ عَمَلٍ شِرَّةٌ وَلِكُلِّ شِرَّةٍ فَتْرَةٌ فَمَنْ كَانَتْ فَتْرَتُهُ إِلَى سُنَّتِي فَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ وَمَنْ كَانَتْ إِلَى غَيْرِ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ هَلَكَ. Now, so before I tell you the meaning of this hadith, there are two vocabulary words. There's shirra and fatra. But who knows what shirra means? What does shirra mean? Now, no, that's shar, not shir. Now, potential. Okay, sort of. Now, sayyi'ah. Okay, so shirra is when you have an emotion, sort of a lot of energy. All right. So, for example, the brothers and sisters who planned this entire event, right? That is high energy, high iman, high a lot of energy went into putting this together. And so when for us to show integrity and to show our iman in that period, in that time period, is that easy or hard when there are all these people doing this? During Ramadan, when everyone is there making salah, everyone is fasting, that's a period of emotional high, right? Is that easy or hard to show your truthfulness, right? It's easy. Now, the opposite of shirra is fatra. So what does fatra mean? Low energy, right? Rest and relaxation, R&R, right? So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, for every action, لِكُلِّ عَمَلٍ شِرَّةٌ. That for every action, there's a period of this high, this elevation, this strength of iman, right? But then, وَلِكُلِّ شِرَّةٍ فَتْرَةٌ. And with each period of elevation, right after we break down the chairs, we put away the tables, we pack away all the food, we pray salah, we go home. There is your period of fatra. Now, once Ramadan ends, we have Eid, we do our parties and have our biryani and our maqluba, right? And we're all done, we pack away the dishes. There is your period of fatra. So then the Prophet ﷺ said that whoever has their downtime still in accordance with my sunnah, فَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ, then that person is successful. Now, but anyone who has that غَيْرِ ذَلِكَ, that if it is different than my sunnah, right, and not doing what you're, like, so you get home, and Ramadan is over, and you're thinking, man, it's been 6 months since we planned an event like this, and you start to get tired at Fajr, or you start to get tired at Isha, or you start to, not do the thing, not reading the page of Quran, or the juz of Quran that you're supposed to read per day, that Dr. Islam just talked about. So then, the Prophet ﷺ said that if your downtime is in accordance with my sunnah, فَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ, then you have succeeded. And if your downtime is outside of that, then فَقَدْ هَلَكَ, then you are destroyed. Now, so we talked about, shirra, excessive energy, fatra, R&R. We're going to talk about parenting your child in a period of R&R, of rest and relaxation, right? Of chill, of where it's easy, where things aren't happening, bombs aren't exploding around you, right? Where you have a little bit of rest and relaxation. Now, so during those two different parts, shirra and fatra, when you have a lot of anxiety, how many of you have ever watched a sitcom or have ever seen a household where the way that parents talk to their children is in an extremely elevated voice? Oh my God, how could you, what, and just screaming and yelling constantly. How many have seen that, by a show of hands? Either on TV or that you've actually seen it by your own eyes. Now, so let me tell you that during periods of high stress, where the child has to figure out, am I going to survive this day, right? The child has to figure out, am I going to survive today? That is a period of time where you're building not necessarily a child, you're building a soldier. And that constant stress in that child that is brought on by the household, by this, constant yelling, constant screaming inside the household, that child is going to have a lot of anxiety disorders, right? Issues with anxiety, issues with constantly looking over his shoulder. Am I going to be safe? Am I going to survive? Right? Whereas when we chill things down just a smidge, just a little bit, just chill it down, take it down a notch, right? And you talk to your child and you explain to your child why what they did was wrong, then you're building character rather than a soldier. So yes, in certain areas, having soldiers, you need soldiers, right? But in other areas, you want a child, you want a son, you want a daughter. Now, so there are children who come to me at the hospital, right? And they have anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress, panic disorders, anxiety, OCD, things like that. The first thing that I look at is their relationship with their parents. What was it like? My question to them literally is, what was it like growing up in your house when you were a kid? And that opens up a box, like Pandora's box. Who knows what Pandora's box is, right? Pandora's box. That opens up Pandora's box that, oh yeah, my parents this and my parents that. Now, so, bringing it down just a notch, so that you don't have to yell at your parents. Sorry, you shouldn't be yelling at your parents at all. So you don't have to yell at your kids, and that's the point. You don't have to yell what you need to convey to your children. And you might be thinking, well, that's impossible. My kids don't listen to me at all. And the rest of what we're going to talk about is intended to help you establish that relationship with your child. All right. The next way for you, so the first way for you to build character in your children is to bring it down a notch, right? Give them rest and relaxation at home. Home shouldn't be a place of stress. Home should be a place where the kids come and they're like, phew, I'm home. Right? I heard the sisters kind of be like, oh my God, what are you talking about? But literally, you can make it like that. You can make it like that, right? The next aspect of inculcating integrity into your children is for you to remember that they are watching whom? You. They are watching you, right? Not to make you guys paranoid, but it's true. So let me give you a couple of examples. Phone rings, and you tell your child, oh, answer that, and tell them that I'm busy. How many have seen that happen? Tell them, answer that, tell them I'm not home. Answer that, tell them, whatever it is, right? You're telling your child to tell a lie. Now, in the last breath that you took, didn't you just tell your child you shouldn't lie? Now, your children are watching you. So we're talking about, hey, I want a child that doesn't lie, because the definition of integrity that the sister gave us is truthfulness. And here we're saying, answer the phone and tell them I'm not home. Or when you go to the grocery store, how many string beans do you taste? How many cherries do you need to taste before you realize that this is a good bunch or a bad bunch? And your child is watching you, and your child knows you didn't pay for those, and your child knows that you just did what? You stole. Your children are watching you. If you want integrity in your children, you complete the sentence. Now, gossiping and backbiting. The child comes home, and mom or dad is talking to their counterpart. Mom is talking to dad, dad is talking to mom about the in-laws. Oh, your father did this, your brother called me, your sister, your such and such. How could they X, Y, and Z? How many of you have seen this happen? I'm not asking you if you did it. I just want to see. Have you seen it happen? Now, your children know that you just told them to not backbite. I feel like I have to raise my voice, and it's uncomfortable for my throat. Jazakumullah khair. So, how many of you have seen parents talking about their relatives? Or even the relative, my own relatives, right? Oh, my uncle did, my khala called me, my this and that, right? My whoever, my father called. Or talking to my friends. Or that a child brings home a report card or some sort of report from school, and then the parents start saying things about the teacher. Or that you guys, or that not you, it doesn't happen here. It doesn't happen in Allentown. No, it doesn't happen here, right? Or that people start talking about masjid administration. That how could he say that? Oh, the president of the masjid, oh, the imam of the masjid, oh, the sheikh said that X, Y, and Z. Why, there's so many fundraisers. Oh, I'm sick of fundraisers. Now, my son actually came to me and asked me, and he was in tahfidh. This is a hifz teacher. A hifz teacher. And he comes home and asks us, Mama, isn't backbiting haram? And we say, of course it is. Then why did I hear my hifz teacher, and he took the name, right, talking about sister so-and-so and what jilbab she was wearing, that is not Islamic. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. These are teachers of our children. Right? And so, if they're learning things from school, then they need to come home and they need to see absolute integrity inside the household. And you need to be able to tell them that, such and such is not here right now. Your friends, folks, kids have fights with their friends all the time. Right? And so you have to tell them that, your friend Aisha or your friend Abdullah isn't here. And so the way you're talking, do you think that she would like it or he would like it? Then you shouldn't say that. Right? Or you're going to need to go back and apologize. Do you really want to go back and tell them that, hey, I said this about you and can you forgive me? Absolutely not. Right? So there you're teaching them integrity. Or let's say that you bought cookies for yourself. And oh my God, I want to have this with my desi chai tonight. I'm going to dip it and I'm going to eat it and it's going to be so good. Now, right? And then you come down into the pantry and you see that the cookies are finished. And now you get upset and you're like, give me the name of a child. You're like, Abdullah, come down here now. I know it was you and it wasn't your sister. And you start ragging on Abdullah. And he's like, but I didn't do it. And then your daughter comes down, right? Aisha comes down and says, oh, those cookies were so good. And now you're standing there, you're like, what do I do? What should you do? You should apologize to Abdullah. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Apologies are only for children to make, right? Integrity. You want children of integrity. When was the last time you apologized to your child for making a mistake? Allahu Akbar, Jazakumullah khair. Last week, somebody said last week. That was a rhetorical question, but Jazakumullah khair. So, or, now, or salam, so apologies are only for children, and salam is only for children to make first, right? So these are aspects of integrity that if you realize, you're like, oh my goodness, I am so sorry, Abdullah, I should have found out first, and then I should have said something, so on and so forth. Now, so we talked about when the phone rings, don't tell your children to answer it and say a lie on your behalf or in any situation. Don't go and start stealing in front of your children and tell your children don't steal. Now, apologize to your children when you make a mistake because only Allah and in the way that Allah commanded His Messenger are flawless. Now, only Allah is flawless. All human beings are sinners. And so you cannot tell me that you don't make a sin or that you don't make a mistake. And your children need to be able to learn that from you. Or are you telling them that as a dad, daddy's always right? Because that is an incorrect education that you're giving your child. Because when he argues with his wife, then guess what? I'm always right. When he argues with his children, guess what? I'm always right. Or when he argues with the Prophet of Allah in a hadith, guess what? I'm always right. Because that's what my daddy taught me. Now, next, when you tell your child, you do the vacuuming, and I'll do this for you. Do you follow through? So let's say the child is like, all right, dude, you're on. I'm going to do the vacuuming. And guess what? You come home from wherever you were, and the vacuuming is done. And now you're like, oh my God, I just promised him $100. What are you supposed to do? Give him or her the $100. Give that child that $100. If you didn't mean it, don't say it. If you didn't mean it, don't say it. So now, what about those parents that say, I'm going to break every bone in your body? What do you do? You said it. Now, if you don't do it, you don't do it. Don't do it. But what I'm saying is, don't say it. Don't say it. Because we, as human beings, say things in emotion. When we're angry, right? We say things that we don't mean. And then the child is going to challenge you on it. And the sooner we as parents realize that, oh, my child is going to challenge me on that, the sooner we chill, just bring it down a notch. And don't say things you don't mean. Don't say things you know, the younger the child, if you want them to do the vacuuming, just tell them I'll give you a kiss on the forehead. And guess what? They will do the vacuuming. Isn't that a lot easier than breaking every bone in their body? It's a little easier, believe me. Now, so the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, on the authority of Abdullah bin Amir, he said that I was a young boy and the Prophet ﷺ came to my house and I was about to go out to play. And my mother called me and she said, yeah, Abdullah, come, I'll give you. And the Prophet ﷺ intervened. What did he ask her? He said, what are you going to give him? Talk about follow through, right? Now the Prophet is asking, what are you going to give him? And she said, I'm going to give him tamr. I'm going to give him dates. Right? And she actually had the dates in her hand. And he said, أَمَّا إِنَّكِ لَوْ لَمْ تَفْعَلِي كُتِبَتْ عَلَيْكِ كِذْبَةٌ. If you did not give him, then it would have been written down upon you as a lie. Talk about follow through. You want children of character? Follow through on what you tell them, and they will follow through on what they tell you. Next, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So we're talking about your children are watching you, right? Your children are watching you. That's the subject heading of what we're talking about. Lying, stealing from the grocery store, tasting candies, right? Or whatever, tasting chocolates. Now that's always fun. Now, so do you follow through with them? Now, I want you to think about inside yourself. Has your child ever made a promise to you and not followed through on it? Not because, they were unable, but because they just took it so lightly. They're like, oh, it's no big deal, I'll just kind of make up for it later. Did your child ever not follow through on something? So then when we look at it that, man, you should follow through, that's a character flaw. Right? We tell the child, that needs to change in your character. But tell me, brothers and sisters? Whose character flaw is that? When your child doesn't follow through on something, whose character flaw is that? It's the parent's character. It's your character flaw. And so if we want children of integrity, then we have to show the utmost in integrity. Now, so, Ali bin Abi Talib said that if we see that the flock is going astray, right? If we see that as a shepherd, you're a shepherd, and the flock is going astray, then who should you look at? The shepherd, not the flock. You're going to beat the flock for doing what they normally do. That doesn't make any sense. You can't beat sheep. You can't beat people that Allah put in your life to follow you and tell them that you're not doing well, or you're going astray, when the shepherd... Okay, I'll let you finish the sentence, inshallah. Now, okay, so we talked about constant conflict inside the house and allowing for rest and relaxation inside the house. How? By knowing for yourself that your children are watching you and having the utmost of integrity inside yourself. Next, how do you establish that your household is actually a household of peace and rest and relaxation? Number 2, by instilling confidence in your own children. Now, how? On the authority of Abdullah bin Umar, who said that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ once asked his companions, there is a tree whose leaves do not fall, and it is very similar to a Muslim. Which tree is that? Who knows the answer? Which one? Evergreen. In the desert we don't find evergreens. The cactus don't have leaves. Say it again. Nakhla, the date palm. Jazakumullah khair. The palm tree. Right? I'm from Texas, right? So we see palm trees all the time. So the Prophet ﷺ asks, who were the 4 major companions standing around the Prophet at that time? Do you know? Who knows one name? Shout out one name. Abu Bakr. Jazakallah khair. Not Ali. Umar. Jazakallah khair. Not Uthman. Abdullah bin Amr. So he was the 5th. He was a narrator, right? Obviously he was there. Now, who's number 4? Number 3. Anas bin Malik. Who said that? Allah, Jazakallah khair. Anas bin Malik, and one more major sahabi. Now, not Ali. No, not Uthman. No, come on. No. Abu Huraira. Alright, so, that's 15 minutes. Alright, so who were the 4 companions? Abu Bakr. His father Umar. Anas bin Malik, major muhaddith. Right? And Abu Huraira, major muhaddith. Now, huge companions, huge scholars. So, the Prophet ﷺ asked this question, and those 4 companions said, or essentially conveyed, we don't know the answer to this question. But the 5th one, the young boy, the son of Umar, who was standing there, he's like, the son of Umar is like, I know the answer. It's the date palm. He's thinking to himself, it's the date palm. But he said, I didn't want to say it because I had too much haya. I was too embarrassed in front of these 4 people. For me as a little kid. So number 1, that shows you how much love that child had for his father and the other 3 companions. And number 2, right? that shows us that he actually had knowledge. Now, so then the Prophet ﷺ said, it is a date palm. And then when they got home, Abdullah said to his father that, I knew the answer, Dad. I knew the answer. He said, قال فذكرت ذلك لعمر. I mentioned this to Umar. And he said, لئن تكون قلت هي النخلة أحب إلي من كذا وكذا. That Umar, his father, said, what do you think a dad would say?
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. What do you think? What would a modern day dad say to a kid? Okay, all right, maybe because I'm a psychiatrist, I kind of deal with dads who would be like, yeah, he should have, that's good. He shouldn't have spoken up. But what Umar said to his son was that, why didn't you speak up? Like, Jazakallah khair. Why didn't you speak up? You should have said it. If you would have said it, then that would have been more beloved to me than this and that, meaning than anything else. That would have been, if you would have said it. And I would have been like, yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy right there. Right? That's my son right there. Right? That would have been more beloved to me than anything else. And so what is Umar teaching in terms of integrity to his son? Confidence. He is telling his son, you are smart. He is telling his son, when was the last time you said to your son, man, you're sharp, boy, you're good, you are handsome, you're good looking, look at you, mashallah. When was the last time any dad said that to their kid? Barakallahu feekum. When was the last time any sister said that to their son or daughter, or dad to their daughter? We should be doing this. But you know what we're worried about? You know what we're worried about? Jazakumullah, assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullah khair. I appreciate it. You know what we're worried about? We're worried about arrogance. Oh no, if I tell them that, then they're going to become arrogant. They're going to become overconfident. But the thing is that if you don't tell them that they're sharp and they're smart, they're going to grow up thinking that they're dumb. If you don't tell them that they're beautiful, they're going to grow up, believe me. I deal with kids all the time. They are going to grow up thinking that they're ugly. They will, and then they have to come to me. And I don't want to deal with them. I want you guys to put me out of a job. I don't want to deal with your kids. Right? So here what we're talking about is prevention. Prevention is the cure, right? Prevention is the cure. So tell your children that they are smart. Tell them that they are handsome. Tell them that they're beautiful. Tell them that they are intelligent. Tell them that they did a great job. Tell them, I love you. Tell them that you love them. Because otherwise your children, I ask these kids, do you think your dad loves you? Do you think your mom loves you? They're like, I don't know. I have no idea. And so then where do they turn? Then they turn to their friends, and then they start doing drugs. Because at least their friends give them love. At least their friends give them a hati khamsa, right? Right? At least their friends give them love. When was the last time you gave your boy a high five or your girl a high five? Simple things. And then you sort of laugh at me that, oh, my household will be a household of peace and tranquility where my kid actually wants to come home? Yeah, why not? Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you're happy that they're in your life. Tell them that you thank Allah every day for giving you to me. Barakallahu feek, Jazakallah khair. I saw this kiss blown to a son, mashallah.
I always tell him stop being smart because he's very smart.
Okay, good. Let me bring it down a notch. So, what we learn here is that Umar bin al-Khattab was praising his son. And there is yes, we learn about throwing dirt, the hadith, throw dirt in the face of the person who praises you, But that is in a different context. You're not raising that person. You are raising this person in your household. And that little person needs to know that he's got some ability, that he or she has some good qualities, some good characteristics, and that at least I've got love behind me of my mother or my father. So let me tell you about the story of Yaqub alayhi salam. How much did he love his son? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبتي. Ya abati, let's just stop there. Ya abati. He didn't say ya abu, ya abi, right? He said ya abati, which has a much deeper connotation. That, oh my beloved father. Oh, when did your son or daughter address you like that? Oh my dear beloved mother. إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. قال يا بني. He said that I saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon bowing down to me. قال, he said, go back to sleep. What are you doing up at this time of night? No, he didn't say that. He said, Ya bunayya, reciprocating the love. Oh my dear beloved son. Ya bunayya, la taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatika fayakidu laka kayda. Don't tell your brothers the nature of this dream. Now, because inna shaytana lil insani aduwwun mubin. Because shaitan can come between you, and shaitan is an avowed enemy to mankind. So what is Yaqub alayhi salam doing? He is validating his son. He's saying, yes, you had that dream. Yes, that is true. Yeah, right? He understood the dream as well, right? And then he said, giving him advice, oh my dear son, let's keep this between us. Right? Let's just keep this between us. Now, later on in the surah, imagine your children knowing that you love them as much as this man loved his son. News comes to you. By what means we don't know, or perhaps I don't know. By what means Yusuf alayhi salam came to understand that his father, upon his loss, thinking that he's dead, and upon his brother's loss, thinking that he's dead, his father cried and cried and cried until what happened? Until he became blind with sadness. How much does a father love his son? And this is not, I'm not making this up. This is in Surah Yusuf, Surah number 12. You can look it up yourself. He cried and he cried and he cried until until his eyes became white, until his eyes became blind. Can you imagine? Let's just sort of step back. Can you imagine the integrity, the confidence, the character that would be built inside your son or your daughter if they knew that you loved them this much? Now tell me about a household that your household should be a household of peace and rest and relaxation for your children. Where's that going to come from? The Prophet ﷺ, when Fatima radiallahu anha used to walk into the room, what would he do? He would stand up and give her his seat. This is a warrior, a statesman, a politician, an economist, a sociologist who stands up and he doesn't care who is sitting. We heard about the Prophet ﷺ wiping the tears of his wife in front of the brothers, the Sahaba. How many of us would do that? Those, kind of wiping your wife's tears with your own shirts in front of your brothers. We would be so embarrassed. But the Prophet, our Uswatun Hasana, wasn't embarrassed. And he wasn't embarrassed to stand up to give his daughter his seat. How much did she understand that he loves me? That confidence in her. Now, next thing with Fatima radiallahu anha, when the Prophet ﷺ is making sujood in the Kaaba, and one of the Quraysh comes and throws intestines upon his back. Who was the one that came and cleaned off his back? No, it was not Aisha. Who cleaned off his back? Fatima radiallahu anha, the same girl. She was the one in tears. She came and she cleaned off. I mean, how much do you have to love your father to be able to put your hands on blood red intestines with, you know what comes out of intestines on the other end? And she put her hands there and she's wiping and cleaning her father. Now, in terms of character, the Prophet ﷺ, does he stop giving da'wah? Does he show Fatima that, okay, khalas, we're done? No, the character he shows her is that we keep going forward in the deen of Allah. That's character building. That's character building. The Prophet Muhammad went to Anas bin Malik's house, and he said that I had a brother whose name was what? I heard it from here. I had a brother whose name was Abu Umair. Now this is not the Prophet's own. So you say, okay, fine. Well, that was the Prophet's daughter. You know, that Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Of course, he's going to do that, right? Anas bin Malik was not his son, and his brother was not his own son, right? And he goes to Anas bin Malik's house, and Abu Umair, who is his 2-year-old brother, because Anas bin Malik says that innahu sabiyun, that he was just weaned, so about 2 years, 1.5 to 2 years. His name was Abu Umair, and he had a pet. What kind of a pet was it? What animal? A bird. A bird. What was the name of the bird? An-Nughayr. I have the hadith here. Now, so the Prophet ﷺ, so Abu Umair is 2 years old brothers, 2 years old ancestors. 2. Did I say 2? He was 2. 2. I have 2 minutes. Okay, so he goes. So all right. So I won't make it so suspenseful. He goes to his house, and he sees, right. So there are a couple of instances in which he talks to about An-Nughayr, the name of this sparrow, right. And he says, Ya Aba Umair, ma fa'ala An-Nughayr. Right? What did An-Nughayr do today? And in another place that I read, that there was a second time that he asked, Ma fa'ala An-Nughayr, when An-Nughayr, the bird, died. And then he said it 3 times, Ya Aba Umair, ma fa'ala An-Nughayr. Ya Aba Umair, ma fa'ala An-Nughayr, Ya Aba Umair, ma fa'ala An-Nughayr. 2-year-old. Now, we would be like, so, the Prophet ﷺ had lost his wife Khadija. In the same year, he lost his uncle Abu Talib. Before his birth, he lost his father. Shortly after his birth, he lost his mother. This is a man who has understood loss. Couldn't he have gone to Abu Umair and said, get over it, buddy. Life moves on. No, he didn't do that. I can't emphasize, he was busy, right? He was a busy guy. Statesman, economist, politician, sociologist, the judge of the people, right? Ask the imams and the shayukh how many people come to them with problems. That Shaykh, well, I need your help. They don't get fursa from that. But the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, had the time and the understanding and the wherewithal to go to his house and ask him, why are you crying? What happened to An-Nughayr? Meaning that the bird died. And he asks him. And in another hadith, when Ja'far bin Abi Talib dies, and becomes shaheed. He goes to his house and he sits those children in his lap and he's running his hand through their hair because he just came back from the battlefield. And then his Ja'far bin Abi Talib's wife asks, "Do you have news of my husband?" That's where she found out that he died, because the Prophet ﷺ is running his hand through the hair of these orphans and he's crying and he's making dua, "Oh Allah, bless Ja'far and his children." This is a man. That's a man. And that, subhanAllah. Now, subhanAllah, we can go on. وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ يَا بُنَيَّ أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Right? Oh my beloved son, don't commit shirk. He's teaching him his deen. Oh my beloved son, establish the salah. Oh my beloved son, command what is good. Oh my beloved son, even if it is this tiny, like a mustard seed, and you hide it in the sky or the earth, Allah is going to bring it out. Now, so, constant conflict versus rest and relaxation inside the household. You want to make it rest and relaxation for yourself and your children. How? By remembering that they're watching you, by instilling confidence in them, and by telling them and by showing them that they are loved and wanted. Do I have time to get into this?
Don't worry about it.
I'm here, don't worry about shit. Okay, so I got through about 60% of what I wanted to get through tonight, but I have another session with you tomorrow. So we will, bi'idhnillah, pick up from here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka.
It's the greatest gift from Allah to be in the last prophet. Summa salatullah wa salamullah ala al-hadi rasulillah.